Well, I created the ChicoBag to help solve a problem. People typically forget their reusable bags at home or in the car, and I wanted to have a bag for myself that was something I could keep in my pocket, something that was unforgettable. So that's the main advantage of the ChicoBag, is it helps you remember your bag and get into the habit, kind of like brushing your teeth. And then once you get into the habit, then you would never think about shopping without a reusable bag. And that's the goal with the product, is to get people to change their habits. I designed the product, I got a patent, and I found a manufacturer to manufacture it. And I sent him my design, and within 3 months I had 3,000 Chico bags, which was the first production run. And I started selling them, I was excited, and then one of my customers came back after they bought it literally 10 minutes before, and they were like, it ripped. And they pulled on the seam, and the seam came apart. And I realized that that first production run, 40% of the product was defective. And not only that, when I received the product, every single bag came wrapped in a plastic bag, which I thought was quite ironic. Well, I got laid off from my job, and I ended up not knowing what I wanted to do with my life, and I decided to clear my mind, and I did some yard work and ended up with a bunch of trash. So I drove it to the landfill, and at the landfill I saw what my town of Chico, California threw away in a single year. It was just a huge pile of trash. And visually what stood out to me were all the plastic bags. There were bags everywhere. Everything was thrown away in a bag, and the bags were thrown away in bags, and they were blown around, and they were caught on the fences, and the birds were pecking at them, and visually all I saw was plastic bags. And at that moment I never really thought, up until that point in time, like, gosh, I use plastic bags. And I never thought about how many I used, what they were made out of, how long they lasted after I used them, or what happened to them. And it all became very clear to me that this was a problem.
He was very self-sufficient. He did things on his own. Being the fifth member of the family, we didn't dote over him like the rest of the kids, so he learned to fend for himself. So he had 2 older brothers and 2 older sisters that looked after him when he was real young, but then kind of kicked him around later on. And he was a good child. He did not give us any problems, so he was a good boy.
He didn't use plastic in his house. He didn't use any paper products in his house. He doesn't use paper. He doesn't use napkins. He doesn't use paper plates. He doesn't use plastic garbage can liners, nothing. Like, he believes in his intention. Like, he's, like, his philosophy with the Chico bags is to save the environment, and he practices what he preaches.
So I have a mission-based company. The mission is to help humanity kick the single-use bag habit and help people start using reusable bags. Well, about 5 years into my business, the plastic bag industry started noticing what I was doing. I would dress up like the bag monster, which is what the average American uses in plastic bags in 1 year. It's just this big costume full of bags, and it's about 500 bags. But the plastic bag industry didn't quite like the fact that I was wearing plastic bags, because that's their product, that's what they make, that's how they feed their families. So the plastic bag industry, 3 different companies came together and filed a lawsuit against me for disparaging plastic bags and hurting their business. So it was 9 months of a lot of stress. It cost quite a bit of money, over $600,000 in legal fees to fight these guys. 2 of them ended up dropping the lawsuit, and the third ones we ended up settling with. And one of the cool parts of the settlement was they actually agreed to change their business practice and print a message on the plastic bags on the bottom that say tie bag and not before disposal, which is a way to keep plastic bags from becoming windblown litter. Because the main issue with plastic bags is because they've easily become windblown litter, blow up into a tree, get caught on fences, enter the ocean, the watersheds. And the simple practice of just tying the bag in a knot would make it less able to become windblown. And my dad was always, every time we went camping or went somewhere, he was always instilled in us, leave the place better than when you found it. So when we went camping, we'd always, police the area and pick up all the trash, anything, even if we didn't create it, and leave the place better than we found it. So that was always an ethic that I had growing up, which I carried into my adulthood. I'd say the biggest thing that people can do in their everyday lives is to cut out the big three: single-use bags, single-use cups, and single-use coffee cups. So if you're drinking like hot coffee or hot chocolate, use a reusable cup. If you're going shopping, you can either say, I don't need a bag, and most purchases you can carry in a pocket or in your hand. You don't even need a bag. So if you just refuse a bag when you don't need one, that would cut out a tremendous amount of bags out of your life. And then when you do need a bag, use a reusable bag.